If you've been ripping, roaring, racing, but not leveling up, you need to come over here to the perk tree. Increasing your attack or defense, how hard you can whack another car, and the flip token of that being defense, but there are limitations for the higher ranks where you will need to take out specific rivals which indeed have their own requirements, such as specific vehicles you need to be driving or whole crews that need to be wiped off the face of the earth. Common misconception is that you need to stay in a single skill tree in a single line for your level to stack, but that's not true. You can bounce between attack and defense. Each time you unlock one of these bricks, it will increase your D level, which stands for driver level. This is not the end all be all of the game by any means, and depending on your playthrough style and what you're prioritizing, you might want to spend your blippies, your B tokens over here, in something like mods for your car. Along those lines, if you're wondering why you're stuck with only level 1 modifications, this is where you're going to unlock them. Some of the higher levels have specific requirements, but usually you just have to unlock the previous level. A way to hold additional cash is to buy vehicles and sell them later. You will take a loss doing that method, as generally, let's say a 3 million CP car will sell for like 1.5 when you drive it off the lot. The dealership flips you the bird because they know it depreciated like crazy. But if you don't want to spend your hard-earned BP tokens increasing your wallet size, you can buy vehicles that you have no intention of doing anything with as little cash cows, investments to sell later, as your stock wallet only holds 3 million CP. Once you have bought a skill, make sure you equip it in the garage right here. I do have a settings guide that will be linked in the description below, so I'm not going to touch on any of these tabs here. If you're near the end of a stage, like right now, I'm near the end of stage 1, you can see a lot of green rivals that I've beaten the brakes off of, and a few blue rivals that won't let me challenge them because I have not met the requirements, such as specific vehicles that I cannot unlock yet, having to beat drivers first. If you are stuck and you're wondering how to progress, come over here to filter, untick all of these boxes, and you will see the parking lots. By default, I believe there's only 2, the Daikuku and the Fukigewa. However, if you just drive around the expressway and you see parking lots, pull into them. They do become unlocked. You can jump to them directly from the map screen, and there you talk to the NPCs and they will give you hints as to where to find rivals. Some of them have some pretty unique requirements popping up on screen here, like high mileage and driving around with your thumb up your tuchus, random stuff like that. In those parking lots, you can find rivals to challenge, although some of them might have requirements. And I've heard that there's an orange exclamation mark next to conversations that are going to give you information about finding wanderers. However, I would talk to everybody because I have found hints, tidbits about where to find other rivals from other pieces of dialogue that were just regular, white, common dialogue. Talk to everybody. Quick rundown of the tire system. You do have 3 compounds, hard, medium, and soft. Hard giving you the most durability, so you can race on them the longest. However, they do provide the least amount of grip, so in the corners, you won't be able to carry as much speed. Medium being a balance, and then soft being the grippiest. However, they wear down the quickest. Tires only wear down in race, and I did make a video on how once you've gone bald on your softs, the game turns into a really fun drift game. That will also be linked in the description below. Photo mode you can enter from the garage, and also in race you can set it up to where I have a button on my steering wheel. I can enter photo mode. It's actually a pretty sick little photo mode. I don't know if that's a tip or trick, but it's just something cool that the game has. Granted, this video's giving you everything you need, but there is a pretty useful help section in the garage. If you press that, it will pop up repeat reminder, if you will, of the original tutorial that you got that you might have accidentally skipped through because you were so excited to start racing. But this will show you all your driver stats, where to find the intercourse. But if that's not enough information for you, there's also a reference page which will give you a bunch of back lore on all the cliques, the gangs, and their members. You can also filter this by expressway loops, which I think is pretty cool. And there is a coming soon page over here to remind you this game is still in early access and more features will be added. Probably gonna get more funner later. Hopefully it's not like Escape from Tarkov where it just stays in beta or early release for 7 years or whatever. I'm not gonna give you a full tuning guide. However, one very simple thing you can do to a vehicle to make it handle substantially better and it, in my personal opinion, look a lot better is just slam that piece to the ground. Now you do need to upgrade. As you can see, that will give you some customization, which you will have access to in the settings. So my 8.6 is lowered 3 inches front and rear. You can actually put her on the ground of 5 inches, but I'm already kind of bottoming out when I hit bumps. This will make you handle a lot better. This is just a simple way to make your vehicle handle a whole hell of a lot better in this game, especially when you combine it with the controller settings from my guide, which do work on both controller, such as a Steam Deck, and also a wheel, which in my opinion is the funnest way to play this game. If you're trying to get more acceleration from your car or more top end, you can adjust your final gear ratio. I know I said I'm not going to get into the settings because I have an entire guide, but one thing I do want to touch on is that the soundtrack is phenomenal, but it is blaring loud right out of the gate. You might want to put that at about 50 or 30%. Now, the rest of these tips I have the honor of showing you in gameplay. Move that mouse cursor out of the way as I wall ride a little bit. So the first thing I want to show you out here in these streets while I put my gloves on is the fact that you can challenge anybody out here. So this guy thought he was safe because he's not a racer. Incorrect. They will be labeled as the nameless one since they're not a named racer. Let's give this guy a piece of our mind and a piece of our ass. So what you will notice is you only get CP credits. You will not receive experience or blippy tokens. You only get the credits. Near misses, you should be doing them. Getting near misses gets you credits, even when you're not in a race. And the faster you go, so if you're going 180 kilometers an hour or faster, which I don't know what that is in freedom units, MPH, the value of those close calls increases. Now I'm gonna get into a race with a rival so I can show you the rest of these nasty little tricks. Okay, this guy was stupid enough, which is something I'll be talking about during the upcoming review, the AI of NPCs and rival drivers. He was dumb enough to just decide get in the lane with all the traffic. There we go. Let's challenge him. You do not need to spam your high beams to challenge a racer. You can just hold it down. I'll show you that right now. Save your thumbs. A couple things I want to show you here is one, obviously drafting. Everyone knows about that. Being behind a car, including a non-player like this driver, is going to cut down on the wind in front of your car, sir. Good to see you. Which is going to allow you to go a little bit faster. Now, that works flip token for other racers, so you don't want to stay in the lane that your rival is in. So he made it easy for me by getting over, but what I would do is get in the opposite lane as him so he cannot use my draft. Now, I can't do anything about him drafting behind NPC cars, but I can control that I'm not in front of him. But what you have to do is keep an eye on the distance meter. Whenever they start getting close, it turns from green to red. You can dive over and get that block on them. Play a little defense. Now, as far as attack and defense, we're going to challenge this poor innocent level 1 again so I can show you about attack and defense. As you upgrade your attack, you can hit cars harder. You do more damage to the spirit bar by hitting enemies. Now, the speed at which you hit a driver, the weight of their vehicle, if you're in a little tiny... Thanks. This guy's an idiot. Come on, bud. Come alongside. So attack and defense here. If you're battling somebody and you start whacking into them, as you see, it's chiseling away at both of our spirit bars. And the higher defense you have, good block, brother. I like that. So I'm going to come alongside here and I'm just going to crash into him. Boom. So I was able to put him in the wall there. And you do have to put distance between you and your rival in order for the spirit bar to get past a quarter of their health. They will not die. They'll just stay at a quarter health if you crash them into a car and you sit next to them. You have to actually put some distance between the two of you. So that's a good technique if they're alongside you, blocking them off to where they have to crash into a car. But you do have to keep going in order to finish them off. The next technique is baiting into accidents. I talked about near misses and how you should be doing them when you're just cruising because it gives you credits, but it has an additional perk or benefit when you're racing, and that is that you can bait the rival following you. Handbrake. Also, you do get credit for drifts. You get a ton of points for a 360, about 10,000 points for getting sideways, 5,000 for a regular drift. Hit some drifts, why don't you? So as I get into a quarrel with this boss here, I can try and bait this bastard into a crash. So I'm gonna get really close to cars, and the AIs are not so good, so they pretty much just follow you as closely as possible. So a lot of times, if you get super close to a car, they will just run into them. Show you what I'm talking about. You're fast, buddy. It's almost like you're a boss or something. Make sure he's right behind you. Watch this. Okay, he's smart. We're gonna get this guy to slip up. Oh, this dude's a freak. Handbrake. I also like how everyone has bad brake pads, so you get that little squeak to let you know what's going on. So it's not working right now, but you're just gonna have to believe me. This guy's too smart for it, probably because he's a boss. Also, keep an eye on their spirit bar. If you see a big chunk go out of it, that means they probably hit something, either the wall or another driver, and you can maybe relax a little bit. The next strategy I want to talk about is wall riding and how you should treat it like a strategy, to where if you do have the health for it, so obviously wall riding doesn't do anything when you're out of battle, but it does take chunks out of your SP bar in race. But a lot of times, wall riding is either inevitable if your tires are too worn out, or it might be in your best interest. You might be able to go faster by wall riding, and if you've got the health for it, you have to make that strategic decision on the fly. Do I wall ride, or do I take this section carefully? I've got pretty good tires right now, so I can hit all this pretty fast, flat out here. Yeah. Flat out again. Also, you can change your license plate to a cool looking glow in the dark one in the garage. All right, there's some people getting it on that office window over there. It's incredibly distracting. I was just going to say, if you could like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it.